Today's focus will be on isolated and compound exercises for both the upper and lower body. Alternative exercises for both included. The first isolated exercise is for the upper body, which is the lateral raise. The agonist muscle is the deltoid. The antagonist muscle is the latissimus dorsi. Type of lever and reasons. It is a first-class lever. The fulcrum pivot point is the shoulder joint. The effort, force applied, is by the deltoid muscle. The load, weight or resistance is in the hand, distal to the fulcrum. The effort is applied between the fulcrum and the load, making it a first-class lever. Jam analysis. Joint, shoulder joint. Action, shoulder abduction and adduction. Movement, lateral flexion. Alternative exercise for the same muscle and joint action. It is front raise, joint, shoulder joint. Action, shoulder flexion and extension, elbow extension. Movement, flexion and internal rotation of the shoulder joint. The second isolated exercise is for the lower body, which is the Nordic curl. The agonist muscle is the hamstring. The antagonist is the quadriceps. Type of lever and reasons. It is a third-class lever. The fulcrum is the knee joint. The effort, force applied, is by the hamstring. The load, body weight, is distal to the fulcrum, beyond the knee joint. The effort is applied between the fulcrum and the end of the lever ankle, making it a third-class lever. Jam analysis. Joint, knee joint, ankle joint. Action, knee flexion and extension, ankle plantar flexion. Movement, hip extension and knee flexion. Alternative exercise for the same muscle and joint action. Hamstring curl. Joint, knee joint. Action, knee flexion and extension and hip extension. Movement, flexion and extension of the hip and knee joint. The first compound exercise is for the upper body, which is the pull-up. The agonist muscle is the latissimus dorsi. The antagonist muscle is the deltoid. Type of lever and reasons. It is a second-class lever. The fulcrum is the shoulder joint. The effort, force applied, is by the latissimus dorsi. The load, body weight, is between the fulcrum and the effort. The effort is applied between the load and the fulcrum, making it a second-class lever. Jam analysis. Joint, shoulder joint, scapula and elbow joint. Action, elbow flexion and extension, shoulder adduction, scapular internal rotation. Movement, shoulder adduction, elbow flexion and extension. Alternative exercise for the same muscle and joint action. Dumbbell rows. Joint, shoulder joint, scapula and elbow joint. Action, shoulder adduction and abduction. Elbow extension and flexion. Scapular internal rotation. Movement, adduction of shoulder joint, flexion and extension of elbow. The second compound exercise is for the lower body, which is the lunge. The agonist muscle is the quadriceps. The antagonist muscle is the hamstring. Type of lever and reasons. It is a first-class lever. The fulcrum is the hip joint. The effort, force applied, is by the quadriceps. The load, body weight, is on the opposite side of the fulcrum from the effort. The effort is applied on the side of the fulcrum and the load on the other side, making it a first-class lever. Jam analysis. Joint, hip and knee joint. Action, hip extension, adduction, internal rotation, knee flexion and extension. Movement, hip extension with adduction and internal rotation, meaning hip moves backward and inward. Knee extension, knee straightens. Alternative exercise for the same muscle and joint action. Leg extension, joint, knee joint. Action, knee flexion and extension. Movement, flexion and extension of the knee joint.